we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart. Along with the altcoin market, we take a look over there at the United States stock market, which is set to open up in about 30 minutes from right now, along with precious metals like gold. We'll take a look over there at any type of crypto news or any type of financial news going on out there in the universe as we get ready to kick off this fine Wednesday. And if it's your first time tuned into Markets in the Morning, we try to keep it light, tight, and bright for as long as we can until we get to the news. Then things take a terrible turn for the worse. But keep it light, tight, and bright. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
It is Wednesday, my dude. It is Wednesday,
All right, what's up, everybody? All right, and I think we got this. We won't have the next video come into play here. We'll just keep this going. Welcome to Markets in the Morning, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We got a little bit of a pop-up here on the producer price index coming out about 30 minutes ago. We saw all markets roll pop, so we'll dive in on that. Thank you, of course, Chieftain Blackbeard with 50 memberships right out the gates the second the stream became available. And then, of course, Edward Lang came in with 250s right afterwards for 100 total. You guys are I'm unbelievably grateful for the two of you. Thank you guys very much for all the people who come in here and like hang out in the waiting room. Essentially 150 of you guys got free membership. So thank you guys very, very, very much. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on into the charts and see what's going on. So the producer price index came out this morning. Let me grab that really fast. Try again. Here you go. So if you remember last month, producer price index came out at a 0.9% month over month, and it shot the producer price index up to 3.3% last month. So it was kind of like this crazy thing that happened, right? But here we go. We came in, registered negative 0.1 on expectations of 0.3, and then that 0.9 was revised down to a 0.7. So we have a revision to last month's crazy number, beating expectations and then dropping all the way back down to 2.6 over here on PPI. And of course, missing it on core PPI as well. So the producer price index, typically a leader of what actual inflation is going to end up being. So with us only being 1 week out from the Fed meeting, from the expected Fed rate cut FOMC meeting, pretty much locking it in, right? So everybody kind of on edge on whether or not that's going to end up happening, but we get, that to come in. And of course that re-sparks confidence that will end up occurring. Yeah. So, we're kind of just waiting to get to next week, it seems like, right? So we've got we can look throughout the market, right? There's a little pop over here, like in the Russell 2000, it's up about 0.5% in pre-market. Same goes for the S&P 500. The Nasdaq's up about 0.33%. The Dow Jones is flat. Metals are pulling back just a little bit this morning, whereas stocks popped up on that. And then we saw, of course, crypto popping up on that. You can see Bitcoin's now at the highest price it's been at since all the way back on August 24th. So, 3 weeks ago. A little bit of an improvement over here on Bitcoin, but of course we're needing to see more follow through on here for any type of restored confidence that we're going to continue marching higher. The big one, of course, paying attention to over here is the altcoin market, because total 3, right? Everybody, of course, pays attention to total 2, but that's going to include Ethereum in there. Total 3 sits 3.18% away from the all-time high. And it's a fascinating moment that we're in right now, because this certainly is a fingernail biting time right now. But for sentiment to just kind of be so rough when we're this high, right? I do remember that kind of happening back in 2020 and in 2021 when Bitcoin got back to, is this the chart? Will I get lucky my first try? I will. When we were back here for Bitcoin, we had not reached like euphoria. There was still a lot of concern about the market when we were in here in December of 2020. It's like we definitely did not reach euphoria at all. It was still like brushing off the hangover of what happened during this move that happened right in here. And I know it looks so small on the screen, but when we were in it, you had all the influencers out there on Twitter saying, nope, we're going to go down and break down even lower after here. And then we came up, but there was still a lack of confidence that we were going to get out. It's just interesting to see that same dynamic still happening right now. And of course it is this big concern, because it's like, well, we got to get out in here too in order for this to end up happening. But to see sentiment the way it is when we're just so close to the high, it's just, it's a weird one, right? Because it's not like I'm not feeling it either. Like I'm certainly fingernail biting as we're sitting up in here waiting to see that we end up getting it, and I feel all those same things. But it's interesting to have those same kind of feelings as if you're like down, right? Like, but we're up, right? We're up. It's just that we know that like you could just smell it and sniff it in the air. There has to be some type of major thing that's gonna like get everybody rampaging together. And nothing like all-time highs does that. Nothing draws in everybody like all-time highs do. So we're still there. We're still waiting. It's the same messaging, the regurgitating of the exact same stuff over and over again until we can end up getting it, because we're at such a critical level. There's not a whole lot to say about this market unless we're going to get the big fat breakout to come. And that's the thing that transitions this from just being some type of uptrend to being full-blown euphoria and full-blown parabolas and chaos and everything like that. And that we're just there, right? We're right at it, and you just got to get through it. And then that triggers it all after 4 years of being stuck. But we're still underneath it right now. And we know we have the big event coming up here next week. And, we're marching, and total 3 certainly is looking good. It's getting closer and closer and closer, but we're waiting for the big moment. Maybe we'll, don't say that, but like, maybe we'll see it during the live stream. Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I could say. But you could see over here, right? I mean, we're getting ready to knock on August 14th high. What is today? September 10th. So it's been a month here. So we've been stuck here at this kind of this ranging zone since the middle of July. Here we are in the middle of September and knocking on the top of the range. And hopefully we can shoot our way out of here. And there it is. That's the peak, not just from here, but that's the peak from 2021 as well. So big moments. But like I've said, but I don't know what the terms are. Dimes to donuts, whatever the saying is. This needs to get going, right? So both those things at the same time. So, all right, there you go. Bitcoin 13,792. So you can see in the title of this, we're at 112,600 when I put the stream together. So we're up to 13,800 off the PPI data. XRP is at $3.01 compared to the $2.96 when I put the stream together. Boy, I'll take this any day. It felt like for weeks on end, every time we would come in for markets in the morning, we would get bombarded with negative price action, and that would just damper the mood. So nice to see this action happening in here. But at the same time, we all know, for me, it's like none of the price action matters until those things happen together. Otherwise, it's just the same story, the same thing over and over again until that ends up happening. Because if this is like a major transition in the market of what we're waiting on. So yesterday we saw the Dow close in all-time highs. If keeping an eye on a wave count to happen in here, like we talked about with Bitcoin, like that would be your ABC. There's your ABC backtest of the high. If this thing starts producing a parabola at the same time, we'll keep an eye on that. This is not important to pay attention to in today's live stream, but would be something that would be referenced back to in the future, and I would elaborate more on it at that time. again, one of those things that, boy, I've just been doing a tremendous amount of life pondering on, has been this aspect of the market, and that it's all one giant trade. It's all one big liquidity flow, breadth flow. I don't know how you argue it any other way. Every narrative that comes with this market, everything about it, all the stories that are made, the four-year halving cycles, and all that different stuff that we just very clearly have a high beta play of the equity market. And that has certainly done a lot of inward reflection on myself here in these last couple of weeks of just being like, gosh. Right? I mean, doesn't that do anything to anybody? We're just like, man, every narrative, every clickbait YouTube short that you get fed, or TikTok you get fed, or ETF this, blah, 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 that. It's all this, right? That's all it is. That's it. So, this has been a lot to ponder on and a lot to think on, and to think that, you're right. Theoretically, your investment in the cryptocurrency market is like a leveraged play on the equity markets. Wild as it is, right? And of course, we know the things that we are paying attention to. Where is it? There we go. Up here, this is your S&P 500. This is your Dow Jones. This is your NASDAQ. And this is Bitcoin, right? We've seen a complete breadth dynamic that has been different in this cycle compared to any of the past four-year cycles, which is why everybody's four-year cycle theory has been struggled upon, right? Because this is the first time in crypto's history, lifespan since 2009, where we saw major indexes go, and it was just mega caps that took the indexes up with them, and all mid and small caps stayed behind. This dynamic has never happened in the life cycle of crypto in 16 years. It has always been that the Russell will go along with it, and that has taken the altcoin market and the entire cryptocurrency market with it. And this is your first dynamic where it did not get out, and I've talked about that many times. But now, of course, it's the big moment in time. Are we going to get it to get out right in here? So, of course, that's just the thing we continue to watch for here. If there's a big major catch-up to happen here in the altcoin market, along with the Russell 2000, and that the major indexes have pretty much run their course at this point. I brought this up on Monday's video, essentially kind of just structurally talking about this. And this is something I've brought up before. I've shown this versus Litecoin versus XRP versus Solana. I even have the Solana version of it right in here because we've talked about this in the past. But here it is versus the total altcoin market over here on the left side. Here's Litecoin on the right, just kind of giving an idea of what these look like. Right, if we are able to get an actual bust out happening in here, what would be the thing you would need? You'd need the Russell. Do you have the Russell set up for something like that to be able to happen? Yes, but so far, so good. And if we get out of here, man, I can tell you, I just know it, man. My tune is going to change so fast because it's going to be what it's going to be like. Like, we're humans, right? So we are emotional humans. And what happens is we go through periods like this, and for some reason, even during all of this grinding up back to the high, there's that emotional, like the market isn't like YOLO hyped about it right now. The market is still like, I don't know, despondent. And, if this thing busts out of here, this is what draws in the masses, right? That's what draws in the crowd. And then the final wave comes and pushes like that. And then we spend so much time doing all of this, and that we bust out, that the market participants will say, what are you talking about? We're just starting, right? Like, think about that in your head right now. If this thing broke out, if the altcoin market broke out into an all-time high, would you be saying to yourself, we're just starting? We're just beginning? A lot of people would. But the reality is we started a very long time ago. It's just that it's been a gradual grind up in here. And then finally, once we actually get our way out, boy, if I can find my chart, maybe it was that one. There we go. That we'd kind of be entering into it at the end. So, just kind of like reflecting on it, that if we are glorified by it, if we are graced by the amazing green candles to bust their way out of here and get out into these new highs, my tone will start changing. I'm totally ready to start hitting sell buttons, man. If it gets presented, I'm ready for it. Totally ready. Definitely not thinking of myself as like a 1-year hodler or anything like that. I'm ready to put some money in my pocket. I'm ready to be cash heavy. So those days will come if we get it, and it'll be very exciting. But we are just waiting for it. Otherwise, the setups are still there for it to happen. Right? Nothing looks weird. Nothing looks crazy. Everything looks like what they should, but we just still are waiting for it to present itself. So Solana at the same time, right? These things too. This is one of the ones we've talked about, right? Just continuing to work its way up. Give you. I wish I didn't do that. Hold up. Take that off. Do better. And just to give you an idea of how these grinds up can look, right? Absolutely nothing unusual in here. Just still continuing to grind. Again, right? Russell breaks out, crypto busts, Solana busts, right? Again, I barely own any Solana. Like, I feel like I could even get away with saying I don't own any Solana, but I do own like a couple. So it's like I do own some, but this wouldn't make me rich by any means if this thing goes busting out of here. But it certainly looks like it wants to. So if this looks like it's going to do it, of course, then I have to think that the entire crypto market's going to do it. And why wouldn't the entire cryptocurrency market do it when it's knocking on the highs, trying to get its way out of there? So Solana looks good too. Same goes for Ethereum, right? We've been talking about Ethereum trying to work its way back up in here and go for its big bust out. This is all your stuff happening in here. It looks like it genuinely just looks like we're right on the verge of the excitement, and then the market participants are not prepared for it or excited about it, and the crowd's not here, and the Coinbase app rankings are at rank 300. But at the same time, knowing it's got to be that guy to do it. It's got to be the Russell 2000 to do it. Otherwise, we're just kidding ourselves for anything in particular when it comes to actual crypto doing it on its own. We know it's got to take the rest of the market to go with it. And it's got to take gold chilling out, right? So I have started the process of going around and getting quotes on gold. And right now, like premiums, offerings out there, they're wanting to offer a lot back of spot. But this is the first time I've actually gone looking actively on hunting. What will people pay for it? What will coin shops pay for it? And trying to get those better rates. Because my thoughts are that it's probably going to stop out here any moment. And yeah, I had somebody ask, should they flip all their gold for silver? Man, that's a hard call to make. Silver is typically going to be more volatile than gold. Look at the DM. Look at the super chat that just came in. Hey, BCB, if gold breaks down, do you think silver will break down as well? What is your base case for metals? Metals are very hard. Metals typically go into expansions if equities are no longer in expansions, right? One will expand and then the other will expand, right? Silver is massively suppressed. I hate the word suppressed because people love to use that and say manipulation and all those different types of things. But to kind of give you the idea of just where silver is at, in relation to gold. way behind, right? Like way behind. So, there's a catch-up play to be said to be had for silver too. But it's just, is silver being collected by, banks? No. So, my thoughts are that the silver does make it to $200, but the thing I don't know is if that's going to take a decade. That's the hard part. I think there'll be a big catch up in here, but I think it's real hard to say how long it's going to end up taking. I've shown these comparisons of things like, let's just change this. All right, get this dingus cat out of here. Hold up. Essentially, you're probably something like that on silver. The difficult thing with silver is that things like this, just these little things, these take like a year and a half, right? Things like this can last for an entire year, right? And things like this could be 5 years. These could be 10 years. Long, drawn out time period. So my thoughts are we're still continuing on silver. The problem is that each range that we enter into can be year and a half long ranges. So it doesn't even necessarily mean we're going to be getting out of the all-time high for a year, unless it just, keeps rampaging and rampaging. But I'm just well aware that we could just stall and range and still be majorly bullish and in a super mega uptrend happening in here, but that each range lasts for like a year. So most people who look at metals, especially the crypto people and the metals people, go really hand in hand. They have a lot of the same belief systems, and I don't just pay attention to crypto content. I pay attention to a lot of the metals content at the same time. And I watch interviews with coin shop owners, and you have a lot of these same people. They go back and forth. They come in, they sell their crypto, then they go buy metals, and they sell their metals because they're going to go buy crypto. And I see coin shop owners tell that story all the time. When the market's hot in crypto, people will run in and dump their metals to go buy Bitcoin, to buy XRP, to buy whatever it is the hot thing at the time. And to have that mindset, with an asset like this, with gold or with silver, it's just a super, super long patience game. So, and I know that just from my own experiences of accumulating it. Like, I really started becoming an avid metals guy back here, late 2017, early 2018. And I mean, just in that time, what are we up here on silver? You're up 150% over the course of 7-8 years, right? For most people, that's not good enough, right? So you may be interested in it because it's in the headlines right now, but people lose interest in it very fast. And just know that every range that enters in here, and I think these have behaved really right as kind of how we've expected it and how we've discussed it over in here, that these things have acted really on cue and that we're probably moving up to a new range, but that I do think it'll probably stall out again underneath the high and then do the same thing, where it's been like this one lasts from April of 2024 until June of 2025. So you're looking at a whole year of ranging. Most people can't handle a year of ranging, especially not if they're like rushing into the metals game when it's hot. Right now it's hot, right? You got gold at all-time high. You got silver pushing on the highest prices it has seen in 14 years, if you're jumping into the game, you're jumping in because you're thinking the train's leaving without you. Metals are very slow moving. I don't know. That's just going to be my thoughts on it. So, all right, let's get back on track. I got deviated there. Stock market's about to open up in the next 3 minutes. We've got the NASDAQ up 137, the S&P up 34. The Dow is completely flat. It's up 3 points, and the Russell is up 9 points. Bitcoin at 113,500. XRP at $3 flat. Gold, I've lost you now. I used to have you. We're just going to one gold. $36.46. Bitcoin dominance, 58.22. Again, an absolute annihilation happening from the final retracement level that's happened in there. Again, a fascinating dynamic to see that we get that to happen, and so much fear spreads throughout the market, and how much fear spreads throughout the market right in here when we have finally the reversal happening over here, even on the moving average convergence divergence, and over here on the stochastic RSI. We've called it before the all-time high jitters. I think it's what it is, right? We're at the all-time high jitters. I feel the jitters too. It's like, man, we got to get out. You got to get the Russell to happen. You got the jitters back at the all-time high. And that's just where we're at. But we've got these dynamics happening here for those altcoins at the same time. So hopefully, hopefully we get it sooner. But like, why? I hate it. But it's probably going to be next Wednesday, right? It's probably going to be next Wednesday when this thing happens. So, all right, there you go. 113.6 for Bitcoin. Stock market set to open up in a couple of minutes. We'll run through the news here really quick. We're all kinds in shock. Oracle's revenue projections leave analysts slack-jawed. Wholesale prices unexpectedly declined 0.1% in August as Fed rate decision looms. Crypto stuff. Here we go. Get through it. SEC chair says most tokens are not securities, backs super app platforms. Bitcoin must hit $104,000 to repeat past bull market dips. Baloney. Lessons learned from a graduate level Bitcoin class. Astrology could make you a better crypto trader. It has been foretold. Okay. The real arms race in Asia is block space, not transactions per second. How to use Grok for real-time crypto trading signals. Look at that. The most viewed thing in here. People wanting to use AI to do it. Top 10 fastest growing blockchains of the year ranked by active users. That one might be interesting. Let me pull it up on another screen because I don't know what ads they're going to have all over this. This is why I don't bring it up. Let me do it on another screen. Number 1, Solana. Number 2, Near Protocol. What? Who is using Near? I don't ever hear about anybody using Near for anything. BNB. Yeah. Base. Yeah. You're telling me people are using Near over Base? I doubt it. Tron. Bitcoin. Aptos. Ethereum at 8. I don't know. Polygon. Arbitrum. Yeah. Like Arbitrum, Polygon, Ethereum, Tron, Base, Binance, Solana, none of those surprise me. Bitcoin, I don't know. Near? I don't know. Does anybody use Near? Type 1 in the chat if you use Near for anything. For those who just lurk. Oh, Mr. Q, I don't believe you. Because I know you. Yeah, there's not a single person typed 1. Everybody's trolling and typing 0. Not a single person. Not one. Okay, ex-Celsius CEO set to start his 12-year prison sentence this week. Ripple's SEC battle is over. Time to challenge Swift. Yeah, so I think that's the big challenge XRP is facing right now, and Ripple's transitioning right now is the narrative for XRP. Right now, the community really rallied together around the lawsuit over the last several years, and I think everyone, the influencers alike, everybody's having a hard time creating their story and their narrative right now on what it is, on what to say about it, right? Like, oh, when this happens with the lawsuit, then price does this. When this happens with the lawsuit, then the price will do that. When this happens and this settlement happens and this happens, and that was always something that could be leaned on. Now they're really struggling to have a cohesive narrative around XRP. And when you see all this stuff of RLUSD on Ethereum will pump XRP. It's like, wait, what? Ripple's stablecoin on the Ethereum network is going to pump XRP? Okay. All right, man. Whatever. But yeah, first U.S. Doge ETF to begin trading on Thursday, Bloomberg analyst. Okay. Doge ETF. There you go. All right, so here we go. Stock market, open. Bitcoin, 113,400. XRP, 299. Solana, 222. Ethereum, 4363. Total 3. The one we're all watching for. The one that really takes the whole market with it at the same time that we're waiting on the breakout for. 3.3% away from the 2021 all-time high. That's obviously in December, but shoot yourself back. There you go. 3.3%. Russell 2000 at 2392. I get it, guys. We're just kind of stuck in this same spot right now. I know we're talking about the same thing over and over again, and I'm sympathetic to that when we get into phases like this, when we enter into environments like this, and that's what ends up happening. But that's just because it's what's important. I can create all the clickbaits. I can create all the fake narratives and false stories and diamond hand, YOLO, talk about ETFs and how ETFs are going to pump us to oblivion and regulations are going to do this, that, and whatever. I just don't think any of that matters. My thoughts are this is the only thing that matters, and so that's why I'm hyper-focused on it. And I don't have any influence on being able to make things go any faster than they actually end up happening. So we're just kind of stuck waiting on this thing to play itself out. We look forward to things on that can be catalysts, and I think obviously next week we have the Fed meeting where they're expected to do the 25 basis point cut. And the question is, do they surprise the market? Do they end up doing 50? Do they give forward guidance in there that makes the market pretty excited that this is like not one and done, but it's going to end up being more than that, right? Could that be the thing that gives the market the energy and the juice to bust out, right? Again, my thoughts are this is not some 6-month long bull run. This is not some year-long bull run, but we're going to create some type of blow-off to happen in here. And just catalyst wise, you can foresee the catalyst like a week away from today. Like there's the potential for it. Like we finally enter into the cutting and then it just rallies for a little while and then, hey, that was fun. But we're just kind of stuck waiting on that. But there obviously is a real catalyst coming next week that could create excitement in the market. And so, whether we get it before then or on then, and pray to God we get it by then, we'll be here every step of the way to figure it out. And of course, we will live stream that Fed meeting. That will be our last Fed live stream. I say that now, but I do fully intend that. So, all right, there you go. 113,600 for Bitcoin, $3 or $2.99. What about $2.999 for XRP? Just won't give that 3. Come on. And then we'll see how things go for the rest of the day. Otherwise, it's just boring, in my opinion. Boring until that. Everybody waiting on it. Once we get that, I'll make a deal. Once we get that, I'll create a thumbnail, and I'll just put that right in the middle of it. But we have to. There's nothing to do until we get there. That's the whole point. All right. I'm gonna hop into the chat. We're at 34 minutes. Reflected Digital, my brother. Thank you. Says happy birthday, BCB. Thanks for everything. Hug, brother. Thank you very much, my dude. Freedom for all, new member. Welcome. Brandon Mem, good morning, BCB. Would you please give a 39th birthday shout out to my awesome wife, Jamie? She and I are huge supporters of the channel. Thank you for all that you and PTW do. Appreciate you, brother. Brandon, you're a very nice husband. Jamie, it's your favorite YouTuber. Wishing you a happy birthday. I don't know. I don't know if I am. But if I am, I don't know. Happy birthday, Jamie. Thank you very much for tuning into the channel. And I hope you and Brandon have an absolutely wonderful day. And hopefully Brandon has something nice planned out for you for the weekend. And if not, no pressure, Brandon. You're going to have to do something because I said something now. So, all right. Happy birthday, Jamie and Brandon. Guys, thank you very much for the support. Crypto Horatio. What about altcoin Brett flip signal? Let me see. I haven't looked at it in a while because we've just been stalled. I doubt it's going to be doing anything. Well, it's just completely stalled. It's loading. I don't know what's taking it so long. You can see what I see. I'm just waiting. It's like thinking. Like how mad it is. I don't know. We'll come back to it once it loads. Ryan Chase, hey BCB, if gold breaks down, do you think silver will break down as well? What is your base case for metals? Yeah, I think we already kind of went through that. I think they'll all stall. And so I don't think gold's like done for the long term. I just think it's going to run out of juice here for a little while. For like a year or two, maybe. Bulldog 589 gifted 5 memberships. Brother, thank you. It's very generous. Thank you very much. Gluten-free EDC member for 1 month says, is it okay to round trip if XRP breaks out with an inevitable decline from a new high? Not asking to do one or the other, but it's justified. Is it okay to round trip if XRP breaks out with an inevitable decline from a new high? I'm not asking to do one or the other, but if justified either way. Can anyone reword that? I'm not sure I follow. Okay, oh, here we go. It loaded. Look at this craziness. Whoops. Okay. Here's the breadth. Tease, tease, tease. You just don't see this. Like, this is not usual. One that'll be interesting is going out to like the 2-day. If the 2-day ends up opening up, oh boy, this could take forever to load too. Oh, that's the first time the 2-day has done something. I can't believe I didn't notice this weeks ago. So the 2-day is a big one. It doesn't usually open at all unless things are really on the move. Are you there? Okay, yeah. I thought I lost you guys for a minute. So that's something you don't usually see is an actual opening up unless you're getting ready for something to go on the 2-day time frame. Right? So we have a lot of craziness going on the 1 day, but for the 2-day to actually open, but also interesting for it to just kind of open and stop. I don't know. I'm not sure how to read that. I'll look at. Well, I haven't looked at this in a couple weeks because I've just been so hyper focused on knowing that we got to get this Russell to break out and that it's going to take total 3 with it, obviously. But that is interesting. So I don't know. I'll look at this a little bit more. I never even noticed that ended up happening, but I've known that. I've been like waiting for it, being like, man, that really confirms it when that 2-day opens. But it's like it's tried to start. It's like it needs a divergence almost or over here. I don't know why it's taking so long to load today. There we go. It needs a divergence to go for a real break. I don't know. We'll check it out. Oh, there you go. We're moving up a little bit in markets. Okay. Gluten-free. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't understand your question. Round tripping is not exactly fun in any circumstance. So, Jack, could you see a macro trend of commodities increasing with exponential automation in the next 10 to 20 years? Why would just thinking of it just from a fundamental perspective, right? The concern would be that commodities would end up increasing in prices because of the devaluation of the dollar in order to fight off some type of economic slowdown that ends up happening, right? Flood the money with cash, cause inflation in order to save the economy, right? But the question of automation actually being the root cause of forcing commodity prices to go up, you would think that automation would cause prices to go down, right? So I'm not sure that things like corn or beef or coffee are going to go up due to exponential automation. You would think they would go down if you're able to reduce labor costs, you know what I mean? And yeah. B, member for 26 months. When silver to 200. Yeah. Hopefully before we die. Ryan Chase, member for 27 months. Thanks for the silver info, BCB. Really appreciate it, brother. Thank you. And then he sent 10 memberships, man. Ryan, thank you, dude. JJ Jacob, alts will rally into Bitcoin parabola and retracement. Yeah, so that argument would have to be this. That argument would have to be rent. And that down here, you go rent. Right? That's his argument. Needy says, why are you following 666 people on Twitter? Am I? I don't even know. I'll go unfollow somebody. How about that? Look at that. Who do I unfollow? I will sacrifice following the Roaring Kitty. There we go. Of course, that's on a day where like GameStop's pumping, right? That's up 4%. There you go. 665. Thank you for the heads up. Crypto Hammer 26, member for 15 months. Ah, sweet mother of Arrow, hold on. Pump that coin. Thank you very much. Herman Sturmeyer, new member, welcome. Jonas Fugalis, member for 26 months. Although Bitcoin is very high, my sentiment is quite low. Don't believe in a payoff. I think that is a good sign. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, isn't it? Most crypto sentiment is like that. Even the fear and greed index is neutral to slightly on the lower end. The sentiment on Twitter is slightly lower end. People I know in real life, sentiment slightly on the lower end. You know, a lot of that. We talk about all-time high jitters. You wouldn't I think we could all reflect on it. It's just very, it's always very bizarre to think that you'd feel that way here, right? This is the peak 2021 euphoria, and lots of jitters back there, right? Which is, we just see that. You just see that happen. Tyler O. Good day, BCB. Hope you and your family are doing well. I appreciate you and your content. Your older videos on stock market fibs. Where are we at? Could gold move beyond your expectations? Do you like Lynette Zhang? Thank you. Oh, Tyler is very generous. Thank you very much. I appreciate you watching for all this time. The stock market bubble, right, which of course it just always sits in the back of my head of extreme nervousness, is that we are higher than the bubble that was produced prior to the Great Depression. This bubble is bigger. The one since the Great Financial Crisis. You also have an entire generation of people who don't know what it's like to go through an actual recession. So anybody under the age of, let's say 37. Anyone under the age of 37 does not know what a recession is. Is that crazy? Now ask yourself, what's probably the average age of a crypto investor? Probably that, like 34, 35, 36, something like that. Right? So they don't even know. Don't even know. Like all these YouTube TikTokers, everything like that, when I look at them and I see them at like 25, 30 years old, I'm like, you don't even know what a recession is, man. I've produced the concept and idea that I think we're in like a rotational equity top that's ended up happening. And the reason why this particular dynamic is happening in the market in the first place is this is like what happens when you're reaching peak bubbles. In that these things kind of stall out, and then that gives this opportunity for this to end up roaring. But that's end of cycle stuff. And so we'd be looking at a really long bear market following this. And everybody would be thinking to themselves, oh, it's just going to be, we'll bottom out. I'm going to tell you right now, it is September of 2025. Every YouTuber, TikToker, Twitter personality that you know is going to say that the end of the next bear market will be done in November or December of 2026. Okay? 4-year cycles, block reward halvings. Because that's what, right? That's the formula. The formula is, we'll be done November, December of 2026. That's when the bear market will bottom out, right? That's when we'll see the Bitcoin treasuries capitulating, institutional capitulation happening. But just like this time is different, I think the next time the bear will be different too. But I think what we're going to see here is like a rotational equity top. I think this is going to be the major winner of what's happening here. And it's that we mimic a lot of the same behaviors of what happened during the 1999 dot-com bubble. And that we have extended beyond the size of a bubble of the roaring 20s. I don't think we'll see something like what happened in the Great Depression where it crashes 90% in a matter of 3 years. Could always surprise me. I just think we have the safety nets in place to be able to prevent that from happening. But this dynamic, and I've written all about this, I just don't feel like I've only got literally 10 minutes left of this live stream to give you a full synopsis of this. I've done full write-ups on it, that this is the type of behavior you have at bubble peaks, and that you have a consolidation of breadth that ends up happening in here, and then you end up having an unleashing of breadth that happens in here, and then the whole thing comes tumbling down afterwards. And so a part of me is always worried and cautious about that at the exact same time. And then, we look at all the narratives, right, about crypto and like the lies of Bitcoin. Like it's clearly inequity. Clearly, crypto in general is inequity. It's all inequity, but they try to mask it with, no, we're like gold, guys. No, we're like gold. We're like a currency. We're like money. We're like a gold. But you're not. And if you think the stock market's going to crash, how much crypto exposure you're going to have? I can tell when I think of like what I want to look like when I'm ready to just kind of like sit back and say, I don't know what this market's going to do anymore. My ideal scenario is that I'm at like 15% of my net worth is crypto exposure, 15% is precious metals, 70% is cash. That's where I want to get to. Right now, I'm at like 50% crypto, 25% metals, 25% cash. Like that's where I'm at right now. Like being 50% net worth exposed to crypto is getting uncomfortable. It's getting uncomfortable for sure. Anyway, I don't know how I'm getting on this ramble. My thoughts are just kind of coming out as my brain is moving, but the intention of that. But yeah, I think we're in the rotational equity top of the market, and I don't think there's a whole lot left of the market after this, just time-wise, and that this dynamic that all happened throughout here is a signature of what happens during final endings of markets, where you go into rotational equity tops that happen right here, and then the whole thing comes tumbling down afterwards. And that we're not like, this is not going to be like your 2022 bear, your 2018 bear. We're talking like those were like pit stops. Okay. That's your 2015 bear market for Bitcoin. That's your 2018 to 2020 bear market for Bitcoin. That's your 2022 to 23 bear market, right? That the next one that comes is not just a bear in a major bull trend. This one's different. And that's why this dynamic emerged in here, where the breadth collapsed on the entire crypto market and on the United States stock market. That this is a signature of nearing the very peak of the bubble. And I think that's where we're at. Pat just entered the chat. Hey, there he is. My dude, welcome, man. Pat is famous. He's not Oscar Hernandez famous, but he is Markets in the Morning famous. JB Estrada, member for 21. Say BCB, this year's Thanksgiving dinner is going to be epic. Class of 2030 is entering the room. Best wishes to the ones that are just getting started. Yeah. Ali Mackey, how do you think it'll play out when the rate cut happens? Not financial advice. Your guess is literally as good as mine. But obviously, the things that I see is that we've got the Russell back near the highs. I see that with the altcoin market. There's obviously this huge convergence happening and confluence happening between all of these things at the same time. And if gold is, topping out at the exact same time, there's the potential for that to be a catalyst to actually give it the clear break, right? I hope it does. We've seen a lot of tricks coming from it. But if we're looking for like an actual catalyst, and then if they come in and they say, hey, look, here's where we're at. Inflation is cooling down. Looks like we kind of got a crazy reading last month, but things tapered back this month, so they're looking good. We do see some weakness over there in the unemployment market or in the employment market. So, it looks like we're time to get out of this restrictive policy rate and time to start going back to a neutral to, to easing rate, right? And does that language, it, because we watch these things all the time, and they're ridiculously frustrating how Jerome Powell just ducks, dips, dives, and dodges every question thrown at him. Then he says, I don't know anything about anything. If he comes out with extreme conviction and is straightforward and is like clearly saying, yeah, we're going to crush it. We're going to kill it. We're going to make this economy amazing, right? If he does stuff like that, like, what will that do, right? At least in the short term, right? Will it create a blow off top in the market? Will it create retail euphoria and retail excitement? I hope so. Julio, are you monitoring Litecoin in case of bullish eruption? I'm not really monitoring Litecoin too closely. Basim El Qadri, did the stock market top already? Else, which one will top first? They'll probably top together. I don't think they've topped. Well, we got a lot of junk on here, huh? I don't think they topped. I think there's probably a couple more in here, but where that lands, I'm not quite sure. But I think this is what we're kind of waiting on. Ave the Brave says, "Can you tell if the Crow WD is back?" I don't know what that is, dude. Thank you, though. Dane of Cawdor, thanks so much for sharing your ongoing perspective, BCB, amidst such a repetitive time with the charts and your wider life demands. Dane of Cawdor, thank you very much. It's very generous, brother, and thank you for the kind words, man. Yeah, it's been a weird time in my life. For sure. Life has typically been very simple. You deal with, everybody... Life always has its curveballs. Like, everybody's dealing with something, right? We can't kid anybody about anything. Everybody is dealing with something. But it's been a little bit more than usual, right? During this whole time, right? This time where this market's just creeping to the upside, there's been just more of life demands happening for me out here, and that might be a lot of self-reflection happening at the same time too. So, okay, I'm gonna have to move a little faster because I think I'm a little behind, and I'm supposed to only be 1 more minute. Good job to me. All right, George. Good morning. If XRP fails 310s, are you planning on taking profits? I think if we shoot down to 280s, I'm considering pulling a little bit out. Basim El Qadri. What if no narrative spike RTUI? What will happen before and after I don't know. After September 17th of September? I don't know. What if no narrative spikes the Russell 2000? What will happen before and after September 17th? I don't know. That's like, hey, what happens if this crazy thing that no one's thinking about happens? Then what happens? It's like, I don't know. Reflected Digital, but thank you. It's very generous. I appreciate it, man. Reflected Digital, my brother, he says, I was trying to start a chain reaction of birthdays. LOL, this is it. Trying to stay grounded. Let's moon. Thanks, BCV. Dude, thank you. I don't know if this class of Markets in the Mornings people know that it's my birthday. Dorlin 3333 Gray says, I only seem to get sick on weekdays. I must have a weekend immune system. Brutal. My wife will love it. Thank you. Misha Wilson, it seems the market is getting ready to crank. Thank you very much. Very generous. But the Bitcoin weekly chart is a negative MACD cross. Do you give that much or any weight? Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think, Bitcoin's just got a lot of signals on there that I don't know how much to trust it yet. Like, I mean, it's not terrible. It's not terrible, but it could turn terrible, right? Like if this ends up stalling it out right in here, there you go. I think that locks it in. Game is over for Bitcoin. And like even the other scenarios that I've drawn in my head have been like having to be mindful of what if it does something like this? And during that time, right, the altcoin market has like fired through the all-time highs. And Bitcoin's just right there too. Like it's close monitor season, right? But there's nothing saying, I don't have anything in here definitively telling me I have to watch for this thing in particular. I have a strong feeling it's going to be like November of 2021. There's going to be this particular moment in time where it's going to say, hey, everything is lined up right here, right now. And, you know, there's obviously days I'm off of YouTube because there's a lot going on in my life out of here. But there's never a day that I'm not looking at the charts. And there's never a day where there's like something popping out on the charts and that I don't communicate it to you. Like if something clicks and some crazy new thought enters into my mind or something happens like that, it's not that I don't share it. I share it whenever I see it. So, yeah. Pat, gifted 5 memberships. Pat, you don't have to, dude. You don't have to. I appreciate it, of course, but just having you back in the chat, sir. Especially staying up this late, my man. Thank you. Aman. Someone I know thinks gold is going to 7,000. Oh, okay. Like, you know, I'm not gonna be financially ruined if gold goes to 7,000, but my crypto bags probably won't like it. My gold and silver bags will like it, but my crypto bags probably aren't gonna like it. Parts unknown. Why do you want to be holding majority cash instead of assets? Well, if you think the market's gonna, if you think the market's overheated and that prices are gonna go down, and that we're threatening unemployment rises, why would you hold assets instead of cash? Parts unknown. So I can the fact that, so here, this is an age difference thing. I can guarantee you're under 37, right? Because you just haven't been through hell and back. I rarely use the H word on the stream when it comes to the economy or what it's like when people are walking away from their houses, when the job market sucks, all those different things. You haven't been through that, so you've been in an up-only environment your whole life. So there's always room to have cash. And like... I want to diversify a little bit too. I don't know about y'all. I mean, like, dude, like, don't you get a little tired of like being like tied to the most volatile market in the world? Like, and again, everybody's got their own allocations to the market. And let me say this too. I think having 50% of your net worth allocated to the cryptocurrency market is stupid. Stupid. It's crazy. It's insane. Don't do it. Horrible idea. Cause you lack of sleep at night. But I'd like to own some other stuff. You know what I really want? I want a big chunk of land, bro. I want a big one. Grow like 3,000 fig trees. You know. But if you don't have cash, you can't take advantage of opportunities. You're just getting, when the markets pull back, which they always do, you have no way to take advantage of that, right? Crypto Keeper, just here for financial advice. When moon, when sell. Thank you, brother. Ty Wood, the dodgeball reference deserves a super chat. Thank you. Yeah, I never say anything. I just know that there's got to be somebody who gets it. Degenerate speculator, what do you think about an earlier shallow bear market? Catch everyone off guard, and we get a left translated cycle. I hate these left translated, right translated cycle thingy, whatever they are, whatever these terms are. Yeah, I don't know about any of that. I don't know about any of that. No. So I mean, here's things too. Like when you, it just seems incredibly unlikely to me that Ethereum's not going to bust out of here, right? It would just be so bizarre to me. And if it's not, and so then I have to go through the logical reasoning steps and say, okay, it totally looks like Ethereum's going to bust out of here, right? And then I go on to total 3, right? I say, okay, highly unlikely that we're going to get all the way back up here, 2.78%, and not bust out. Right? Just highly unlikely. And so, you know, this obviously doesn't include Ethereum. This is the total altcoin market cap, excluding Bitcoin and excluding Ethereum, and it as well is playing the same game of being right back up there. But if ETH is going to break out, and if total is going to break out, well, it's not going to do it independently. It's going to do it with this guy. And so I just have a hard time looking at all these different charts and saying, why would we get all the way back up here and not bust out? So I think they'll all bust out. I don't know what you mean by left translated, right translated, shallow, dip, dodge, whatever. Short term, whatever. Bear. I think they'll all bust out. So there's the confluence of them all there. Like, so that's what you talk about. Is there going to be a bear? It just doesn't seem likely. Why would it, if Ethereum is going to bust out, which it certainly has the appearances to me that it's going to, then that would have to mean that the Russell is going to bust out too. If total 3 is going to bust out, it has to mean that the Russell is going to bust out at the exact same time. So I don't see this bear thing, this short-term shallow bear thing. I think what I see more likely is the bust out. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, look at that. We went and touched that on total 2 today. The bust out, but I just imagine it being short-lived. Doesn't mean it can't get excessive and crazy and wild, but that it would just be relatively quick and then over. While everybody's kind of scared right now. I don't know. And like, you got the narrative, right? You got retail investors. You're going to have all your influencers posting the Jerome Powell money printer meme next Wednesday and beyond. You're going to have everything that retail investors need to bum rush into crypto and into markets and everything like that. And they've, of course, waited. Right? When will they pile in? Right? Like, realistically, right? They would pile in right there. A confirmed breakout of all the things. This is where the crowd would come in at, right? Right. So then they give it the juice to do the final little bit. And then everybody says, how could you say we are ending? We are just starting. But how could you tell me we're just starting when we're just ending? Okay. I got to get going through this. Jerome Van de Veyer, if the RTY doesn't break out after the rate cut, will you change your exit strategy? At what point would you say that that's it, I'm de-risking? Yeah, so after we get through that, I'll keep an eye on it. No matter what, there's never going to be a point where I'm just like, I'm selling 65% today. That's it, cutting it, scared. It would just be like gradually removing a little bit from the market here and there. Like, all right, starting to feel uncomfortable. Maybe over the course of the next 30 days, I want to start kind of pulling little pieces of it out right now until the market proves it otherwise. Right now, it's still all in. It's definitely uncomfortable. It's definitely uncomfortable. It's all in. And let's be real clear. I think, like, here's the difference too. So I don't day trade, right? Outside of like playing around on First Ledger and stuff like that, I don't day trade. So I am 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. Less than 2 weeks. I'm like 9 days away from nearly everything in my portfolio being in long-term capital gains tax status. Right. So I've had to keep this close eye on it, and at the same time, thinking to myself, oh my gosh, right? And that makes such a big difference when it comes to selling. And whether you should all pay your taxes, you should be good people. There we go. I've done what the government has told me to do. They haven't told me, but I don't want to play with that. I pay my taxes. I have an accountant. We sit down. We go through everything. It's last year's taxes was just like 95% short-term capital gains. And I got to see the 40% or 39.7% taxes I had to pay on all my gains and how that felt. So I've held on to where we're at now to get to this point where I'm being long-term capital gains. So if we do, it'll be a gradual process of removal. There'd have to be something that sparks me. Like XRP, the thing that does make me nervous on XRP is just failing to escape 310 and coming back down to these lows. That does make me nervous because of other things that we've talked about on other charts. As of right now, all it would have to do is just get through that 310. Yeah, I don't care where you stop. Stop at 330, whatever, man. And then pull back. It doesn't matter. That's fine. That's fine. I just don't want to see us rejecting and here and heading back to these lows, because then it brings up all that other stuff of looking like a failure. So right now, there's nothing in here, right? There's nothing on here. There's nothing on here. There's nothing on Ethereum, right? There's nothing on the Russell that's telling me there's something happening. So it's like a theoretical thing of, hey, what would you have to see? And I have to see some nasty candle show up. And then people always say, oh, well, why didn't you do that in hindsight? Right? Well, do you see it on the chart right here? No, there would have to be something really ugly to show up that would have to happen throughout all the markets all at the same time. That implies something scary. Right now, I just don't see it. If you see it, great. I don't see it here. I don't see it here. Right? I don't see it here. I don't see it here. So I see a market geared up to go break. You'd have to show me something that would create an argument to say something's wrong. And then there'd have to be confluence of it with things like XRP too at the same time. We've got things like this happening in here, right? I don't see any reason to be scared in here, right? So theoretically, I don't know what I'd have to see, but I'd have to see it at the time. Angela, happy birthday. Thank you. Been a lurker for years. Oh my, I have got to go. Oh boy, so grateful for your information and analysis. Angela, thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt your super chat by saying that. I just realized what time it is. I have got to go. Angela is very kind. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Andrew, hey, BCB, mostly a lurker. Sometimes I come out of the shadows to say what's up. So what's up? My dude, thank you. Aura, happy birthday, BCB. Have you seen stablecoin hyper gambling AI police state super cycle thesis? I don't know what that is. Okay. I don't know if that's a joke. I don't know if that's a joke. I don't know. Thank you, Aura. Oh, yeah. SupercraSY. What's your view on the XRP ETFs if they approve them in October? I think they create wonderful, wonderful hype narratives for influencing, for TikToks, for shorts on YouTube, for tweets on Twitter. I think they make absolutely wonderful headlines. I don't think they mean a dang thing. Don't believe me? Go see when the Ethereum spot ETFs came out and what happened to Ethereum afterwards. Why? Because it did not matter. Right? Right there. There's the ETFs. What mattered? Macro. That's it. If we're in a positive macro environment, sure, I can add fuel to the narrative of whatever. But that's it. All right, here we go. Thank you for the super chat. 589, my bro. Thank you. Happy birthday, Chad, Brad, Peter, BCB. See you next event. Chris, dude, thank you. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here. We've got a positive crypto market today. $114,000 for Bitcoin, $3.01 for XRP, $44.40 for Ethereum. And then we're just a couple of ticks away from the all-time high over here. For total 3, and the crowd 3.3%. Why? How did we get like within 2% a minute ago? We were at like 2 point something percent a minute ago. How did that change? Right? Didn't it say like 2.78%? Oh, because it was like right there. Oh. Thank you. PTW saved the day. Okay. Does BCB cover the M2 money supply? I do not. I do not. I just bore you to death with this thing over and over again. There you go. That's what you get. Right here. Right. Yeah. All right. Frog. All right. Let me frog it. Chris, brother, thank you very, 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 very much. Everybody, thank you all so much for tuning in. Happy Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my It is Wednesday,
All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. Pat says, it's been ages since I've heard that. Welcome back, sir. Welcome, El Baco. All right, that's it. Everybody have an absolutely wonderful, wonderful day. Hot Tub Brian, 5 memberships, dude. Thank you guys so much. I ran much later than I intended to. I continue to do this. As you all know, it's a chronic problem of markets in the morning. But if you could hit the like button on your way out of here. Thank you guys all for the support. There were very many generous super chats and kind comments and all those things. And of course, Chieftain Blackbeard and Edward Lang coming out swinging as always. And Pat, so great to have you back today. I don't know if I even saw Oscar in the chat today. I don't know. But Pat, the superstar, man, thank you very much. Guys, have an absolutely wonderful day. And all eyes on the Russell, all eyes on Total 3. That's going to be it for this one, though. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like the live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is... See, I get to cut out all those breaths when I make the YouTube videos. So you guys don't have to deal with any throat clears, long breaths. Those all get disappeared from the videos. All right. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a no good one.